SpeedLaughs, the comedy podcast for people with short attention spans who don't know how to,
Salamander, Sasquatch, Susquehanna, Seltzer, Spodinsky. Oh man, how am I supposed to find a package addressed to Lord Stitchington in a pile this big?
Just keep looking, we'll find it.
I hope so. Let's see. Smattering, Sampson, Smith, Leibowitz. How'd that get in the S's? Shodesack, Shapiro, Stitchington, Symington, Squitch, Small. Stitchington? That's it. This package is addressed to Lord Stitchington. Quick, Pumpernickel, read the address.
Lord Stitchington, 777 South Stitchington Street.
South Stitchington Street? Wow. That shows you how important he was if he has a whole street named after him.
As opposed to just having part of a street named after him?
Well, it could be just a corner or an alleyway or a gutter or something. Anyway, we found his address. We've got to go.
Hey, come back here. What about the rest of these packages?
My shift is up.
But it's 3:37. What kind of place ends their shift at 3:37 instead of 4 o'clock?
I know. Strange rules they have around here, huh? Well, see ya.
I wondered why they started our lunch break at 12:26.
Excuse me, officer. Do you know how to get to South Stitchington Street?
Yes, I do. Have a nice day.
Well, thanks. That was very helpful. Hey, wait a minute. Get back here.
Ma'am?
Let me rephrase that question. Do you know how I can get to South Stitchington Street?
Well, you could take the bus or a trolley or a bicycle, or land there by parachute, I suppose, if you're the adventurous type. There are all sorts of ways you could.
Look, officer, I'll try and explain this one more time. I want to go to South Stitchington Street. Can you please tell me where South Stitchington Street is?
Oh, that. It's right over there.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you. Why does everyone have to be so difficult around here?
Well, you've got a point there. Some fellas are really stupid, you know.
Wait a minute. Officer, what are you doing over here? Where's Professor Pumpernickel?
I'm over here directing the traffic.
What for?
Well, I thought you wanted me to come with you to South Stitchington Street, so I thought I'd let your friend there take over my job while I was away, you see.
I don't need any more help from you, officer. Get Pumpernickel back over here.
Oh, all right. Hey, you with the beard, get back over here and join your friend.
I can't. I have to give this man a ticket. He was speeding, you know.
I'll take care of the tickets. You go on your way now.
Can I keep the badge?
Give me that. Get going.
Well, that was an interesting waste of time. Let's see, here's South Stitchington Street.
Yes?
Excuse me, I'm looking for Lord Stitchington.
I am Lord Stitchington, madam. Lord Alfred McGlennon Stitchington at your service.
Oh, I guess you're not the one who was murdered, then.
I beg your pardon?
Well, you see, we have a package for Lord Stitchington here, but it's obviously addressed to the Lord Stitchington who was murdered. So how could you have been murdered if you're standing here talking to me?
I'm afraid I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, madam. Is there something I can do for you?
Yes, just tell me which house belongs to the Lord Stitchington who was murdered.
I don't know anything about murders, my dear lady. I'm in the tea manufacturing business myself. Not much call in my line of work to be involved with murder investigations. Good day.
Well, that didn't get me anywhere. This must be a very old street. And I can't find 777. Looks like the house numbers are all faded. I'll just have to try my luck at the next door.
Yes, what can I do for you, madam?
I'm looking for Lord Stitchington.
That's me, madam. Lord Byron Stitchington.
Oh, Lord Byron, I see. Your mother must have loved poetry.
No, actually, she couldn't read, so she named me after a poet just out of spite. Now then, aside from prying into personal details of my family history, what can I do for you?
Well, you see, I'm on a murder investigation. You know, it's a remarkable coincidence, but did you know there happens to be another man named Lord Stitchington who lives next door to you?
Oh, yes, well, this is Stitchington Street, after all. All the Stitchingtons live here, next to each other, you see.
You mean all the people with the same name in this neighborhood have to live on the same street?
Yes, of course. Doesn't that make sense?
Well, I guess, but I'd hate to see the street where the Smiths live. It must go on for miles.
Oh, yes, there wasn't enough room for them on their own street. 3 of them are living here with me. Now then, was there something I could help you with?
No. I'm afraid it was just a mistake. Sorry. Well, that's just great. Everybody on this street is named Stitchington, and I can't read the house numbers to find out which one is the house of the Lord Stitchington who was killed. Oh, well, I'll have to just try the next house.
Yes, can I help you?
Let me guess. Are you Lord Stitchington?
Yes, how did you know?
Just a wild guess. You know, it's a strange coincidence that all the Lord Stitchingtons in this neighborhood look and sound exactly alike.
Oh, yes, that's because we're trained to, you see. You'd never know it to hear me now, but I originally come from Philadelphia.
Well, I'm glad somebody got out of Philadelphia. Now then, do you know anything about the Lord Stitchington who was murdered?
I beg your pardon?
There was a Lord Stitchington who was murdered in this neighborhood. I'm a detective, and I'm trying to crack the case.
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about murders, madam. I'm in the tea business.
You too?
Yes, that's how we Stitchingtons can tell each other apart.
But if you're both in the tea business, how do you tell each other apart?
Well, I make tea with sugar, and that fellow 2 doors over makes it without sugar, you see.
Aha! I can see where it would be confusing otherwise. Well, it looks like I've made a little faux pas here. Sorry I bothered you. Damn, that's 3 houses and still no luck. I guess I'll just have to keep going to every house on the street until I find 777. My knuckles are getting sore. Pumpernickel, would you knock on that next door for me, please? Pumpernickel? Hello?
Oh, don't worry. I'll be glad to knock on the next door for you, lady.
Hey, what are you doing back here again?
Well, I'm just lonely.
Will Officer What's-His-Name ever stop feeling lonely? Will Rose ever find 777 South Stitchington Street and figure out who committed the murder? Where did Professor Pumpernickel disappear to? How many Lord Stitchingtons are there on South Stitchington Street? Will Lord Byron Stitchington's mother ever learn to read? Will Rose ever drink any of Lord Alfred McGlennon Stitchington's tea? Will she drink it with sugar or without? Will Nathaniel Flute ever be able to get out of paying the traffic ticket Professor Pumpernickel gave him for speeding?
That was him? You mean we almost figured out...
Will this show ever make any sense? Tune into the next episode of SpeedLaughs and find out.
That was the 8th episode in the 3rd series of SpeedLaughs, a short podcast for short people with short attention spans, written by Andrew Gilmore and featuring Andrew Gilmore, Dick Lee, Martha Michael, and Joe McCann. We hope you enjoyed it, and if you didn't, who cares?